All right, everybody, welcome back to the show 32 Tots. It's so good to be back with you all. It's been a bit. We've taken our time to collect our thoughts and tots on what happened this past week. And so this is going to be dropping in your feed on the weekend. It's been a week, boys. There's been lots going on for you visual tuners, those of you tuning in. You'll notice a couple backgrounds going on. We'll connect with those in a bit. Audio listeners, you're just gonna have to wait, and we'll describe what's going on. And let's go around the horn here. Simeon, bud, good to see you back in the Southeast to kind of wrap up the year that was. And how's Cancun been with Kucherov and the off-season activities? What's going on for you?
Yeah. So first off, James, I just want to say thanks for the shout out for my background. Better Call Saul poster, classic. I love having it in the back every time, but it's good to be appreciated. Uh, yeah. So Kucherov, Cancun, he's having a good time there, receiving the Hart Trophy and just kind of parading it down the streets. It's
Yeah.
good. It's a good time. Yeah,
Do they
parading down
do
the
Hart
beach.
Trophy parades, or is that just a Stanley Cup thing?
I mean, he's
I
kind of
didn't.
like been there, done that with the Stanley Cup. I mean, to be fair, he's been there, done that with the Hart Trophy too, and the Ted Lindsay and whatever. It's old news to him, but he has a good time regardless.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's there's lots of awards going around in the Sun Belt, we'll call it, on the sunny coast of the Atlantic seaboard. But thanks, Simeon. We'll get to more thoughts on that later. Stay tuned, buckle up, listeners. We got a show for you with some connections. But I want to throw this over to you, Luke. What's the off-season activities looking like for you? And it's the week that was for you.
Yeah, so I actually buckled up myself and we went down to Winkler. I was participating in a para golf tournament here in Manitoba. So that was a lot of fun. Got to meet some great people. The first day I paired up with Vic McLennan. Just want to put some respect on that guy's name. He came all the way down from Alberta for this, and that was kind of my moment where I'm like, oh boy, this might be a bigger deal than I was thinking it was. But
Buckle
yeah,
up.
he's yeah, but he was a great guy. Ended up playing our round together on Saturday. Weather was a little mush, but we dug through it. It was a bit of a tough day for the scoreboard. How the tournament worked is you got 1 point for a bogey, 2 points for par, 3 points for birdie, four for eagle. And basically you wanted to just rack up the most points you could in the division I was playing. So first day was just pure mush with that weather. Maybe the nerves got to me. Only racked up
Assessment
like
round.
yeah,
Assessment.
and that's what I said after the first round to my caddy Felicia. I was like, just an assessment round. We'll come back stronger the next day. So unfortunately, only put up a three spot on that first day. Um, me and Felicia might have mushed ourselves, read the wrong rules, and thought a double bogey counted for a point. So we were thinking we were more at the 10 point range after day one, but after the leaderboard updated, we were back down at three. So
Just
mushed
three of the
ourselves.
32. You were
Yeah,
shooting for 32 points, but you got the three. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was day one. Um, but Vic, he saw I was maybe on the struggle bus a little bit. He invited me for a range session the next morning. So shout
Nice.
out to that guy. Got to try out a few of his clubs. He was giving me some pointers. And let me tell you, day two went a lot better than day one. So we started off here. I was partnered with James Burness. He plays sledge hockey with us. He's been a veteran in the Manitoba program for 20 plus years now. Um, just an unreal golfer, and
Great name. Great name, by the way. Great name.
yeah, great name. But let me just tell you, the first four holes, I had never seen anything like it. First hole, just bangs out a par. Second hole, he's got a birdie. Third hole, par. fourth hole birdie. He's -2 through 4 holes.
He's
I'm
just
like, this guy's
flip-flopping
professional,
birdies and pars, just flip-flopping.
just flip-flopping. So he's racking up big points. I had already sunk 3 bogeys by then, matching my score from yesterday. So I'm already feeling good about my game. And let me tell you, we get to hole 13 and we have the bridge moment. So we got a par 4 here. I drive it up. There's like a bush kind of sectioned off section in between the green and like where I laid up for the drive. So I land my ball there. My second shot, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it over this bush. So I'm just gonna lay up again, get as close as I can. So we got the bush in front of me. There's a little bridge off to the left, and so I take out the 9 iron. I don't want something to go too far. Take a drop penalty. The day before, I had just sent it into that bush, so
You
didn't want to
learn. You
repeat
learn
that.
from the assessment round. You learn.
Yeah, so I swing the 9 iron. It goes. It's starting going left. It's going up in the air, hits the cart path, and it keeps bouncing. And we get to the bridge, and it keeps going, and it goes right across the bridge perfectly. We already cleared to the other side of the bush, um, and didn't even have to worry about laying up. So that was just absolutely unreal. One of the rules ladies who was sitting on that hole, she was like, "That's the shot of the day." So that was the bridge moment. Definitely the highlight of my weekend. Might have three-putted afterwards, but that's okay. Um, but yeah,
Don't have to
overall, it was
remember that. Don't have to remember
no,
that.
no,
But
still, I believe racked out a point on that hole. So, um, but ended up with 15 points on the second day. So big improvement from the first day, and yeah, overall it was a great weekend. Learned a lot, so it was a good time.
that's an awesome story, Luke. The fortuitous bounce.
Yeah,
Yeah, not the bussy bounce, the
no,
bridge bounce. So yeah, I and and I just want to connect with you off the bat. Like, yeah, you got some good name connections. You got some connections from interprovincial borders, and golf is one of those things for me. Whenever I get into a round as a single guy, and I get like kind of like the the day deal that sometimes works for me in the schedule. Then you get like paired up with some guys and the people that you meet and the stories and the connection. Like for me, sometimes the golf, it's just a game, but it's actually more about the connection. So
yeah,
yeah, no, let's get into this, and we're gonna segue into the Stanley Cup final coverage. And so, Luke, I'm gonna cut it here. I'm gonna have that little intro because we lost Simeon, and it's okay.
yeah.
And so I'm gonna cut this, and then we'll do another one.
Okay. Did he just lose connection? Oh, he's back.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
Hey, it's good to see you back. We're gonna splice this out. And so right now
Okay.
we finished our intros, and then what I've been doing is I've been cutting in like our little intro drop that you've seen, where it kind of like either pans in or pans out with the little 4-second guitar riff. And so
Mm,
we'll now get into the Stanley Cup stuff as we segue in. So you you,
okay.
you still good for a bit, Simeon? I don't want to assume.
Yeah,
I know things got later here, and I'm
no, I'm good. Yeah, no, so my laptop dies as soon as it's unplugged and like the cord just came out just a little bit without me noticing.
well. Welcome to
So
the Mushcast. Welcome to the Mushcast today. So,
yeah,
okay.
I'll have to hear the rest of that story.
Yeah,
Like
it,
yeah.
it'll get a
goes
Little
read
Easter
partway
for
egg.
us to
through.
get a view. So,
Yeah.
You got
Free view.
you got yeah, you got did you get par?
Uh,
Or you're just
I
not
think
gonna
I got a.
I'll wait.
You'll have to watch back to see.
watch it back. Okay.
You got an eagle.
If you get to talk about Kucherov, I'm gonna make you watch this back. So
I'll just watch back the part where I talk about Kucherov.
that's what helps you sleep at night. Go ahead.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's too good. That's too good. Okay, so we're gonna get into game six. I got it up here with
Oh, okay.
Did you want
Was
to do
there
game
going to be a
five
game?
first, or are we going six?
sorry, game
Yeah.
six. We were doing were we doing five, six? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pardon me. We're doing
In the
five and then
yeah.
six. My brain's all over. So I got it up here with do I have both games? So I want to follow some of the uh yeah, give it to me for game five. Okay. Got it here for game number five. So I got box score and the recap. So we'll count this down again. We'll do three, two, one. All right, boys. Well, the Stanley Cup has been awarded. We're gonna get there. We're gonna talk about game five first. In Carolina, the Lenovo Center was buzzing. Might have mushed that name. I don't know. The one in Raleigh. Anyway, the game five tots, if you will. Um, I got the box score that I'll run through, and we'll kind of count on some of you for maybe a little bit of the viewing. But if we're gonna run through the the recap here, first goal scorer on the board for Game Five was Mr. Skorofiev from none other than Luke's Fantasy Boys hockey team. He was all over this playoffs with goals, and so by the end of this game, he'll add another. But let's talk about what happened after that, because after that Skorofiev goal, we have your pick for Conn Smythe, Luke, to put some connection and respect on your name, connecting with a pick that we'll talk about. Uh, Jordan Stahl has the tip and primary assist from none other than the Danish prince that's in your background there, Prince Nikolai. And then we got Mr. Svechnikov in the second period on the power play from Ghost and Ehlers as the secondary assist. There's a little bit of flavor to this game, if you didn't notice. And then in the end of that second, we got Aho getting on the board with a huge goal, primary assist from NHL legend Simeon's boy Sean Walker, and from the bussy bounce and the Walker own goal to now glory in this game for both of those characters. We have at the end of the or pardon me, midship of the third period, Svechnikov adds another power play goal, primary assist, Nikolai Ehlers, and then book it with a Skorofiev uh, bookender for that one. Though, Luke, going back a little bit, we've had some time to kind of collect our thoughts on this one. As the game kind of progressed here, what did you feel from the watch and what you noticed?
Yeah, for me, I really saw a lot of that Carolina suffocating defense come out. Um, really saw them lock it down. Vegas was not getting a whole lot of quality chances. Um, Brandon Bussey, he was able to see the shots coming on net and he stopped the ones he needed to. And offensively, it was just the Nikolai Ehlers show on offense, just with that sweet shot pass off of Jordan Stahl's stick on his goal. And then just another sweet dish on the power play, sells the shot, moves it over to Svechnikov, and he buries. Um, so yeah, just another great performance from Ehlers. He had those back-to-back 3-point games, um, which put him in some pretty good company for players with back-to-back 3-point games in the Stanley Cup Finals. So um, yeah, really saw kind of the tides turn in this game for the series.
How about you, Simeon? You want to chime in with some thoughts here?
Yeah, for sure. Uh, so looking at the box score, I think one of the standouts that wasn't kind of really focused on yet is Goss Despair, one of my favorite guys from Carolina.
Yeah.
He had 2 assists this game and both on the power play, and I think that's what he ended up doing like all finals, just contributing on the power play. And like I think sometimes that role gets overlooked because it's like, oh, we want our defensemen to be like defensive, like really solid defensively, or we want them to be the flashy, even strength guy who gets in the zone and like does it all himself. But like just a defenseman that's just smart on the power play. Um, like there's a I watching defensemen like Goss Despair, um, where when they're on the power play, they just do stuff, and then you see someone else try and fill their role, and they just can't. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like I feel like that with Morrissey on the Jets sometimes, or Morrissey and Pionk. I feel like it's like the two of them. They have creativity on the power play, and then as much as guys like Dylan DeMello has have been good in the past, it's like he's trying to put that guy on the power play, and he's not getting anything interesting happening, right? So
Yeah, kind of to jump on that thought and flavor it up a bit. Well, with Ghost there. Um, with the defense that kind of drive the point and kind of the distributor from the point and working it around to the different sides. And then Luke, I want to use this for a prior podcast, like the the Stephen Valiquette quote of crossing the yellow brick road. Am I getting that one right? Am I quoting him right?
I
To get
think so.
across crease, or sorry, to get the goalie to cross his crease and put him in a vulnerable situation and to open up more net for a shot. Um, so I mean that's a good assessment. I like that. And to contrast that, thinking of what Vegas was doing with their power play, they didn't have a defense driving that in the point for a bit. They had all forwards at one point, and then they brought in Shea Theodore as the defense to kind of solidify that. And you'll notice his name on the box score, though it was a little too late at the end there, and Bussy locked it down in that third period. Vegas had 13 shots, the most out of any of the periods to that point for that game five. Though the completion of that game five, boys, and some of the thoughts going into the game six. Everybody knows how it ends now. Everybody's covered it. But when you were in the watch and when you were thinking, okay, Carolina's going to Vegas, challenging place to play, thinking that a lot of us talked in the chat about this felt inevitable to get to game seven. Though, did anything change for either of you from this watch and this game? Luke, maybe you want to start that one off and then we'll go to Simeon again.
Yeah, game six, like I expected Vegas to come out strong. Um, but game six was really just what it just really encapsulated what the Carolina Hurricanes have been the last few years, and just that suffocating defense. Jacob Slavin put on a masterclass performance, just with those poke checks and stick checks and just turning defense into offense. Um, you even see that first goal of the game by Taylor Hall that got it all started and strips Jack Eichel of the puck, and then he just fires a pass up to Taylor Hall on the rush, and he just snipes it post and in. So, um, what I thought was going to be a push from Vegas quickly turned into just suffocating defense from the Hurricanes, and Vegas didn't really have any answers.
Yeah, to you, Simeon. Like for me, kind of going from game five, I was like, I don't know if this is coming back to Carolina. I don't know how you felt, and then how that the game actually played out from your assessment to you.
yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like I think after the first few games, I was like, okay, you know what? Like, and honestly, I doubted the Hurricanes all through the playoffs. So, you know, um, I'm not gonna pretend that I was like a believer in the Hurricanes all along. No, all throughout, I'm like, they just don't have the star power to do it. They don't have the star power. But look at that. Look at them now. They've won the cup. So I think it really proves that even though 90 plus percent of teams that win the cup, they've got that superstar player. I think a team like Carolina can can still win a cup without it. But back to game five, I that was the point where I wasn't doubting Carolina anymore, like at all. I was like, um, going to game six, I figured that there was a good chance that that was the last game. And
Yeah.
so I was like, I can't miss it. I missed a lot of the game, but I didn't miss the whole thing because I was like, I need to see the cup ceremony. And I was like, I planned to be able to be there because I figured there's a good chance I was getting awarded that night.
Yeah, yeah, no, it kind of felt like a couple of the media members that I kind of follow and listen to were on the same page. Some some thoughts for me kind of thinking back to prior rounds and the Vegas thing. And I might mush Puck Talk Pete here a little bit because I don't know, maybe that was the origin thought for Vegas kind of getting on their I don't know, their night fall off the horse, but it was kind of a slow a slow one. But if we think back in earlier in the playoffs when Vegas was playing Utah for instance, Utah came out pretty hot if memory serves me right. They had high speed, and it kind of felt like as that series went on, that Vegas all of a sudden reached another gear, and then they kind of really responded with maybe a couple of assessment games, and then they ended up clinching it. Same with the Anaheim series. If you remember that one was a little bit back and forth, a little bit of chaotic offense, kind of a little bit back and forth, and then Vegas dials it in, and then they clinch it. And then you go to the Western final, and then they just make quick work of Colorado. But though I think there might be a bit of an asterisk there with some of the injuries. Probably would be a different series with those guys being at full health, but you have to be healthy to win. And it was almost a reverse here, where as the series kind of went along, like that game one was so magnetic and all the energy. But then as the series progressed and going into that six, it felt like it was what Vegas did to all the other teams. But Carolina, all of a sudden, they hit their stride towards the 5 and 6 and how they kind of clinched. Though I want to work through it, and it's kind of poetic, to say the least. I said this in our group chat with what was some of the origin taught story of our little uh our podcast story here and how this thing all ends. Though we got one goal scorer per period in the game six clincher. Luke, you said off the first one, Taylor Hall. What a career! We'll get to that in a little bit. I wanna talk about his career trajectory and then now after. Though he's the one who starts it off, and he was my big pick for Conn Smythe. I thought he was a guy who was going to grind it out, and there's so many guys that could deserve it. We'll get to there in a moment. Though in the second period, you have Jackson Blake, who I also felt had a very strong playoff and playing with Logan Stankoven. What a player. I heard this on another show that if you look at his hockey DB, like out of all of his games in his young career, I think he has like 60 plus playoff games already in his short career. It's crazy between a
Yeah,
couple different leagues. So
I
he's a
saw another
go ahead.
Todd about him too. He as he was kind of climbing the ranks as a younger kid, he actually got cut from his U14 team. So just the perseverance to kind of come back and stick with it. It's a cool story. And now he's leading the Hurricanes in the playoffs for points this year. So
Yeah, and when he was scoring more of the goals before and then being the primary assist to get it to Blake, working and digging, and I'll remember that one goal where he like out muscled. I think it was Rasmus Anderson behind the net, and in one of those earlier games to really set the tone. And so it's 2-0 going into the third. And I don't know if how you guys felt that third went. Like there was moments where I'm like, is the tide gonna turn? Are we gonna get another like game one, or is it gonna be a crazy comeback again? Though, like we did the Bussy segment last show, and then putting some respect on his name and making that a clip all of its own, clipping it and shipping it on the Sunday. Uh, Maybe doing a little bit of test in the waters to see if we are the mush cast. Turns out we are not, and we're just a couple guys talking puck. But Bussy shuts the door. How many exploding head emojis did we send back and forth during that third period? Like it
Too many
just
to count.
felt. What was that?
Probably 32, but too
Yeah,
many to
maybe
count.
32. Yeah. It it felt like Bussy was not gonna let this go back to Carolina. Whatever, like that they were gonna win this in this barn and it was gonna be signed, sealed, delivered. And yeah, with a minute and change left on the clock, who seals it? It's our Danish prince, our yeah, we'll play the clip with the connection to our 204 extension code in our lands here in Manitoba. But yeah, Nikolai Ehlers seals the deal in the empty net, and how poetic that he's a little bit of the start of our story of our puck talk, and that's the end of it for the game section of the season
Yeah.
that was. Luke?
Hmm.
Yeah, even just like a cool story from that moment is he wasn't entirely sure where his family was sitting on the rink, and after he scores that empty netter, he goes to the corner and he looks up and he sees his brother and his sister and his parents, and just gets to celebrate that moment with him. And you could see after the goal he was definitely looking to the crowd for someone. So
Yeah,
to hear that after with the family connect and everybody there is pretty special.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
I'm
No, for
also
sure.
just thinking about all these players you just kind of rattled off there, James. And Carolina is such a team of underdogs. Like when
Hmm.
you think of it, like we were talking about Bussy and his story of where he was remind me again where he was working before. It was like Subway or
Chipotle.
Chipotle, Chipotle, right?
Chipotle. Like what? And then Stankoven, getting not even making his U14 team. And then Nikolai Ehlers, different kind of underdog, but like never getting the minutes he so deserves
Maybe
and like
deserved, yeah.
yeah, and never given the chance to be the superstar that many of us know he could be. But and then just yeah, like everyone on their lineup, like no one on their lineup is like a player that gets a lot of attention all the time because it's just a lineup of underdogs. But the funny thing is the team themselves weren't the underdogs the whole playoffs because everyone knows that like when you put a bunch of underdogs together, suddenly they're not the underdogs anymore. So anyways,
Yeah, no,
just
they played as such a team unit, Simeon. Like
yeah.
I think underdogs is me like not to completely like rebuttal you, but I think it might be a little bit too simple. Like I feel like there was almost like uh I may be missing. Sometimes I hate English, and I wish I had a different language to speak to make a connection. But they were not a group of superstars like let's say in that drama league I say where there's like the Golden State Warriors, where all of a sudden you get all these guys and they make a super team, right? Like this is not a super team. Let's call them super dogs, okay? Super dogs. Like it's
Mhm.
together that they are the team, and the sum of the parts is greater than the individuals per se. I don't know if that's a quote that resonates. Though I want to bring it back to like something you said too, Simeon. It's like they were a little bit overlooked in that first series. I think a lot of people kind of thought it was like the kind of underdog pick, but also like the bracket buster pick to maybe get the Ottawa Senators through. And I want to just share something with the guy who set the tone from the beginning of the playoffs, dropping the gloves as captain with the fellow captain of the Ottawa Senators, and then where the story began and then where the story ends. So stay with me. But Luke, if you want to chime in here a little bit as I load it up, um, the game's over, the celebration ensues, and it's the trophy that nobody wants to hang on for too long, though it's one of the things the player needs to be awarded, and then it gets on to the main event. Do you want to take it over? Because this is your guy and this is your pick while I load it up.
Yeah, so honestly, just like kind of another underdog story, even just from like my prediction of the series. Like he was my Warren Fogle digger of the series and quickly graduated to my Conn Smythe pick. And then after game 6, he's awarded the Conn Smythe. He's the oldest player in NHL history to win it. Um, Scores 6 goals in the first 5 games, I believe, and um, as well as like face-offs too. Like face-offs aren't always a stat that I put too much weight into, but if you got a 70% win rate in the draw in the finals, like that's substantial for your team in that kind of round. And even going back to the success of the Hurricanes power play, like you see they throw him out there for the start quite often to win the draw, and then he'll go swap with Ehlers to get on the ice. But yeah, just an unreal playoffs from Stahl, and like you said, he set the tone in that first game of the playoffs and carried it on through, shutting down some of the league's best goal scorers. Um, I believe he won his minutes against Mitch Marner in this series 2-0. Um, so just an impressive run by Jordan Stahl.
So I'm gonna take this on a little bit of a time machine travel. It's been a few years, so I'm gonna show where it started even before this run and then where it ended. So buckle up, enjoy it.
Jordan Stahl from the reigning first family of hockey, the second Stahl to win the Stanley Cup, and you've done it at 20 years of age. What do you got planned for the encore?
I have no idea. It's going to be, obviously bring it back to Thunder Bay and, throw the Stahl family proud, I guess.
Did you watch?
Okay, so that's where it starts. And now we're gonna fast forward and what's the encore? Yeah, you want to win it again, and he gets traded to his brother's team. Originally, this is Eric Stahl's team. He's the one who won it with him, and then he carves out his own identity with the Canes, and then we get to the present day, and where his kind of words just take it, and I'm gonna let Jordan Stahl do the talking here.
17 years after you last lifted the Stanley Cup, you're a champion again. What feels different?
Oh, that's a lot of years. I mean, it's amazing. It's just something I've been going after ever since we got the first one. I mean, you want to win it again and again and again. And what a feeling, what a battle the boys were grinding today. My goodness, what so many individual efforts just to keep the puck out of our net. And it was an amazing ride. And I'm just so proud of these guys.
What did you learn over these 17 years?
Perseverance, trust in God, my family. I don't want to get emotional, but those things for sure.
You're about to.
Don't want to get emotional, but we're all for it here on on the show. That's what makes these characters really come to life in my humble opinion. Um, that was before the cup was awarded, so it's pretty raw. I kind of wanted to share that clip. Um, Luke, what do you think of handing out the Conn Smythe to Jordan Stahl? Some people are like it was too weighted on the Stanley Cup final. Some people saying it should be just a stat thing. Let's spend a quick thought there, but then also no anything else you have to say on the guy. You've said a
Yeah,
bit already.
that's my guy. Um, I love the pick. I thought he was deserving of the award. I know some people kind of take like the whole playoffs into account. I thought he did well enough in the rest of the series. I would kind of, in my assessment, like weigh the first three rounds maybe as like 50% and then put 50% weight on the finals itself because that is the most important series. And at the end of the day, the series that gets you to that Stanley Cup. So, um, there's a guy that battled and dug and went from Digger to Conn Smythe. Um, I loved the pick.
Yeah, how about you, Simeon?
Yeah, I don't think it was a bad pick at all. I mean, just the fact that I think in one of the interviews he was saying he was feeling like he was like feeling like he was playing at the best he's played in his career, like feeling like he's playing hot
Yeah.
at 37. It's like it's really cool because you can look at analytics, you can look at all the analytics show that like on average players after 27 start to struggle to keep up with the game, right?
Yeah.
But you can have these outliers. A guy like Jordan Stahl, just putting on a clinic in the playoffs, and yeah, I mean, as you said there earlier, James, like he kicks off the playoffs with a key fight to give them some momentum. He was there making an impact in the first three rounds. I would probably weigh slightly. Like I do think the finals important, but I think also the first three rounds are very important as well. You can't make it to the final if you don't win round three or round
Hmm.
two or round one. But yeah, I do think you weigh more for the final regardless. But even if you weigh only 40% for the final, I still think Jordan Stahl was a great pick.
Yeah, the true testament and kind of getting back to maybe your underdog, but I want to call them super dogs. There's so many players that were deserving almost. Like there's so many guys that could have won the Conn Smythe from Carolina, and that just speaks to their team roster construction and why they are champions. I really feel. And whether you go down the lineup and like we talked about Logan Stankoven and a guy they got in a trade from Dallas and a guy that they really kind of saw and because Mikko Rantanen really didn't fit into their style, they kind of assessed that player that was going to be a guy that could play Carolina Hurricane hockey. And I don't know if it was the GM who said like he's a Hurricane through and through, Eric Tulsky or whatever in a presser. But there's that even a guy like Jackson Blake, like you tally his points up after game six, he's got 20. And yeah, Taylor Hall too. What what a group. And I want to get to some more of the connections with some key characters from this group and the celebrations, but let's throw it around while I queue it up. Um, Luke, was there any like celebrations that really got you? And maybe this is an easy one to take. Maybe I'm just setting you up here, going across the yellow brick road.
Yeah. Um, for me, obviously, seeing Ehlers being a Cup champion was awesome to see, and just his emotion with his family um, was really special. But I think also for me, one that really stood out was Seth Jarvis and all his buddies there, and they're just doing snow angels and the confetti, and his boys are like tearing up. And even seeing after they won the cup, I think it was Jarvis and Blake just like embracing that moment together. I think they're on the ground and they're just kind of like shaking each other, and you could see the waterworks getting going. But yeah, seeing Seth Jarvis and his buddies from the Peg was really special to see all them sally with him.
Yeah, like the guys that you've done life with since high school, right? And like those are the guys that with you thick and thin, right? Uh,
Yeah.
how about you, Simeon? In your watch, what the celebration? Like for me, that's half of it. Like it's so iconic, however it is, and there's so much emotion, so much stories. What thoughts stuck out to you?
For me, there's a couple. One is the cup and just who passes it to who is always very interesting to see. And seeing Frederick Anderson get it early just
Yeah,
shows how much respect the team has for him. Um, Even though, he didn't win them the games at the end, that was Bussy, and much respect to him too. But just to see, like, and he's Frederick Anderson, he's not one of their star players, right? Like, he's not known as the guy that's driving Carolina to the playoffs, right? But
yeah,
no, it's just seeing the respect that they have for him was really cool to me, and I think he would. There was an interview with him after where someone asked like, "You got the cup early, and how does that feel to you?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's a lot to process." So I think he was really moved by that too.
yeah.
Um, the other Sally that I love was the storm surge. Uh, the fact I've always been a big fan of it, and like 8 years ago, Carolina was one of my least favorite teams. Like I thought they were so boring. I remember like talking with people saying like they should just relocate, which is ridiculous. They already had a cup. Like I don't think there's ever been a team like that and that's won a cup in the recent, yeah,
Era,
since
yeah.
in the salary cap era and the expansion era, whatever, that's relocated. But I do remember just thinking they were just so bad for so long, and like at least the Sabres, they had some interesting talent back then that like kept me interested,
Hmm.
and I felt like their fan base like really like just like kept caring about them and kept them going even when they were garbage. But the Hurricanes, yeah, I just was not a fan. But then, Storm Surge was one of those things, along with new ownership and everything, that just really said, we're a new team now. This is us. That we've established our identity, and I think that's something that we just keep talking about, all the different characteristics of this Hurricanes team, and they've just got such a strong identity, and the Storm
Yeah,
Surge is a big part of that to me. So it's great they brought that back.
yeah. From bunch of jerks, as they were once coined, to a bunch of champions. Uh, and yeah, all the guys that kind of came into the fold, and I feel like I wanna share the moment of connection with Nikolai Ehlers, who's a guy that I will follow as the connection to Winnipeg for the rest of his career, wherever he stops after. Though for me, this interview with Elliot Friedman and company has all the feels. For me, it was one of those interviews that was really moving, and so I'm just gonna let the words speak for themselves. So
Winnipeg was where you started. It's where you grew. Do you have a word for the fans of the Jets who supported you?
I love being in Winnipeg. This was the dream there. I'm obviously sad I wasn't able to do that with the guys in Winnipeg and the city of Winnipeg. They hold a special place in my heart. I've said that. Their family. And it was.
Yeah. Oh, it's got all the feels. Luke, you want to take that one?
Yeah, just such a special moment for our boy Ehlers, and um, just to hear his appreciation for where he got his shot in the league, and like you said, Winnipeg is still home for me. Uh, it was just really special to hear, and yeah, just couldn't be happier for the guy that he got his moment on the big stage. He's a champion forever. Um, I know even like his dad was saying um, in an article, like it was never about being on the first line or making the most money here in Winnipeg, but to be trusted in those key situations from Rod the Bod in Carolina, that that really meant a lot to Ehlers, and um, you even see it like he's out there with the Stanley Cup on the line in Game 6 and gets that empty netter to seal the series and the cup. So couldn't be happier for my Danish prince, and he's always got a fan in me.
From Danish prince to now Danish king and a champion. Crown him. Simeon, to you.
Yeah, just I mean, you can hear how choked up he is about Winnipeg, and it just shows how much he cares and cared about us, our city, our organization. Um, yeah, you can't really fake that. I mean, you can, but it'd be pretty impressive to do it so convincingly. So yeah, I just think we really got to appreciate that we had the opportunity to have him on our team for so many years, like, and just be grateful for those years. Um, yeah, and as much as we like to hate on the Jets management and all that and the organization sometimes, I feel like it's got to say something about the organization, the fact that like Paul Maurice when he got his first cup with the Panthers and now Nick Ehlers kind of like just giving love to Winnipeg, giving love to the organization a little bit with their cup winning interviews. It's like there's something there as well. Like there is some magic there in Winnipeg that people want to, yeah,
Pay
that
homage
that
to.
players want to play homage to. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. No, and not to be the word guy. That's a theme this one. Like I wouldn't say it's the hate on Jets management or anything. It's a little bit of critique of letting a player of that caliber go and then not properly addressing that in the same way. Because it's one of those things. It's like he's a complementary piece, perhaps, to a Stanley Cup champion team. There's a couple guys that go into that locker room and probably put them over the edge. I think of a guy like Taylor Hall as well. Big performance from him in the playoffs. Though like for us and the Manitoba Miracle, Nikolai Ehlers was the architect of that. If it wasn't for Ehlers, Perfetti would have never redirected that. And so it's just one of those things where I like how you said it, Simeon. We're grateful for the years we had, though it's for me, it's almost like a little bit of his thing. Like it's bittersweet. Like I'm so happy that he got his moment. Though for me, it's just why couldn't we have given him what he needed in order to stay? Though I think your picture says a lot there, Luke, and for you audio listeners, it's Nikolai Ehlers and Freddie Anderson, and he said he wanted to play with a Danish countryman, and that was a big draw to going to Carolina. And so whether it was that, whether it was he wanted a different opportunity, a different lifestyle completely. It would be a different lifestyle in Carolina entirely. Um, Part of me misses what could be with an Ehlers on the Jets, though I'm still so happy for him. Luke, any concluding thoughts there after I
Yeah.
opened up all the feels?
Yeah, for me, like I look back at his years on the Jets so fondly, one of my favorite players ever to watch, but kind of what stings kind of in the moment as well is just the mismanagement of the player we had here. And you see him kind of stapled to guys like Vladimir Nemesnikov or Cody Eakin as his centers. And like you see the 2 years Nemesnikov plays with Ehlers, he puts up his two best years in the NHL, which I don't think are a coincidence. But yeah,
No.
just some of that ice time where guys like maybe Mason Appleton are getting more minutes than him in key playoff games. Um, so it's kind of the what could have been for Nicola Ehlers um, in my head. But again, just so happy he found his opportunity in Carolina and paying early dividends in year one.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, Simeon and Luke, I feel like I I'm out of tots. Like we ate them up. Like that, the Stanley Cup is awarded to the Carolina Hurricanes, and to maybe put a stamp on it a little bit. From ownership change at the top, Tom Dundon comes in as a new owner, new ideas, and really changing a culture, I believe, which I believe it was Carmanos before who there was a little bit of I don't know about controversy in the same way of the FBHL and the Simber, but no, all of that was not revved up to the utmost, though Dundon coming in and then Rod Brendamore coming in as the coach and setting the tone and them staying the course and being steadfast with them. And Simeon will be coming up in the latter part of the show with the rest of the Southeast Tots and staying true to a coach perhaps, standing the test of time though here with Rod Brendamore and Tom Dundon and Eric Tulsky kind of taking over the reins from, if memory serves me, it was Waddell, who was a big architect here. Um, Carolina is champions again, and it took 20 years, though. What a team! So much of the post interviews and talking with the guys, the big theme I drew out was family. Like, just feels like family. I really wanted to do this for the boys, and it would just feel like a family, and it was something that kind of really captivated my attention with the way that they spoke about one another. And maybe I'll throw this as the last little thing around is um in some of the final words from some of the other players, guys, though, family and winning for family and doing it with a group and standing the test of time. What what do you think is something all the rest of the 31 teams, our Winnipeg Jets included, what's something that we could learn from this organization, this run? What do you think is going to be the new copycat? It's a copycat league, they say. What would be one thing that maybe you pull out from what was the Carolina Hurricanes Cup win? Luke?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a maybe foreign model, you could say, to the league. Um, I give a lot of credit to Eric Kotelski building this team and even just like his background to begin with as chemistry, PhD, and um, his unconventional path to the NHL. But um, I look at a lot of his work and um, just getting those right guys um, on the team. A lot of those underdog kind of characters, like we had brought up, and even just to have like a plan B and being able to pivot quickly. You see Rantanen comes in, um, doesn't go so well, so they quickly pivot over to Stankoven, and Taylor Hall comes in. They use that first round pick to bring in Keandre Miller and Nikolai Ehlers. So I think just kind of coming to the table with a plan is something maybe some other GMs can take a look at as the blueprint. But for me, it all kind of starts with that family mentality and getting the right guys in your locker room, the guys that fit, the guys that want to be there, um, the guys that'll go to war for each other. Um, just again seeing like the cup getting passed around and Freddie getting it first and Aho deferring his cup chance to Taylor Hall. Um, you can just tell these guys deeply care about each other, so special to watch.
Yeah. Simeon, what do you think would be a copycat, or what's something that maybe sticks out from this team?
Yeah, I mean, I think the family thing for sure, but also kind of what I touched on earlier, the idea of a team identity and like
Hmm.
this is the way we play, this is the way we do things here. Like the owner, Tulski, is that his name or
GM Tulski, owner is Tom
G
Dundon. Yeah.
Dundon? Right. Okay, sorry. So Dundon is I know he's been embroiled in a little bit of controversy for how he runs the organization and just like he's very stingent on his on what he spends
There's
on
numbers
and
on stuff. Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah.
yeah, but that's just the way he runs things. That's and he's not afraid to be like, this is how I do it, owner, you know? But that it's just like all like that throughout the organization. The way they consistently, year over year, outshoot every other team, for example. They're a team that takes shots on goal and just berate the goalie until they finally get stuff in. They've always had this identity of like shut down defense, you know, not letting anything dangerous get in. Um, the storm surge, as I brought up, like that's part of their identity. They're a fun
Culture.
team. There's a cultural identity, and so yeah, I just and then the identity of being an underdog team. Like all this really contributes to just like this is our way of doing things, and we don't have to adapt to other teams. We don't have to be like the other teams in the league. We
Yeah.
don't have to get we don't have to get a superstar player to win the cup. We don't have to follow the trends of we're gonna we're gonna play this play style of hockey. We're gonna play the style that we are good at, and we gotta trust in the process, and it's gonna take us far.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's a
yeah.
good way to put it, Simeon. I think to maybe encapsulate this, Carolina, you just got the flavor of winning again. It's sweet. There's been a lot of challenge with getting to the top. So now that you've tasted it and now that management has tasted it, this is going to be what's coming up after the break. But what is going to be the next move to keep the winning in Carolina? Because I think the odds just came out for next year, and Carolina is right back at the top to do it all over again. And so nobody knows yet. This is the end of the Stanley Cup, though. We're going to take a little break and we'll come back after with some off-season thoughts. There's some spice coming out of the 204 extension here and Winnipeg proper. So stay tuned, buckle up. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to the show after the break, everybody. We're going to have some fun with some final thoughts on the 2025-2026 season. We talked about this Stanley Cup. Now, boys, we're going to kind of extend it and do a little bit of reflection on the whole season as you will. And so you could take this a couple different ways, however you want to serve your plate of thoughts on this one. Simeon, you brought this up before, so maybe let's serve your cold, uh, unspun death thoughts in this one with what is your final thoughts on the season and in particular to your Southeast corridor.
hmm I mean, my final thoughts on the season, like, of course, Jets are my number one team. So Jets had maybe the worst season we've ever had because we were coming from such a great season last year and just how hard we fell. So that was kind of rough. Um, but it was still a fun season in other ways. It was cool seeing Carolina boys win a cup. But at least we bookended the season with some awards for our boys in Tampa. Uh, some more,
Your boys in Tampa, they
Your
are
yeah.
not
boys.
our
Yeah.
Okay,
boys.
fine. Okay, fine, fine.
Your.
Yeah, you'll adopt them soon enough. But um, yeah, it was good to see them win awards. I mean, some I will admit myself were more well deserved than others. The Kucherov Award, yeah, I mean, we might as well rename the Hart the Kucherov at this point with how much he wins it and how much he deserves to win it. But no, I'm okay. Maybe that's a stretch. But this year, like, yeah, he deserved it. He was crazy for stretches of the season, and yeah, breaking records during the season with how much he was producing.
Regular
So
season merchant. Yeah, we got that. That's a regular season award.
yeah,
Yeah.
except for the times when Tampa won the cup and he was the leading scorer on their team. But yeah, yeah,
Does he
yeah.
have any Conn
Anyways,
Smythe though, or
no, but he should. He should.
so it's not? It doesn't matter when it matters
He
most. He
he
doesn't
probably
show
would have
up.
been second in voting for both Conn Smythes that were
So
Tampa won.
like
Anyways,
participation trophy, Conn Smythe, or
yeah, yeah. I guess. I mean,
Guess
I
you
don't
could
know.
say Jordan Stahl's better all time.
yeah, Jordan Stahl
Uh,
does have more Conn Smythes than Kucherov.
The
yeah.
same
How
amount
many
of
Conn
cup.
Smythes does McKinnon have?
Who won that
Uh,
one? Who
yeah.
won that one?
Wait, how many cups does McKinnon have? Just one, huh? Okay,
How
okay.
many
All right.
COVID cups? How many COVID cups?
That's a
McKinnon,
twofer. That's a two for
yeah,
one.
McKinnon has 0 COVID cups. Kucherov has 2.
I
That's
don't know if you want those.
okay.
Simeon,
Anyways, the
Simeon,
awards.
no, the one word for me because it's more of the stage of life I'm in. The Jack
Mhm,
Adams. Do you want to speak a little bit to the coach, the man,
mhm,
and yeah, it's probably long overdue in some
mhm,
capacity. I probably deserved it in different seasons, though it's one
mhm.
of those positions you're hired to get fired at times, but he has been standing the test of time and in a spot and continuing the success and the message isn't getting old, so to speak. Speak to John Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the longest tenured coach in the league right now, for a single team. And for good reason. Like, he's always been really cool under pressure. Like, you see other coaches, they freak out when things are going wrong, they're yelling at the refs. And like, yeah, he gets mad just like everyone, but you don't see him lose his cool. He's always quite composed in like any interviews, and yeah, he's just seems like a nice guy to his team. And I think that's what contributes to them kind of having a good team atmosphere, a good vibe. And Tampa has not been a bad team in like how long? I mean, you got to give him some credit there. So yeah, I think this season, did he deserve the Jack Adams compared to the other candidates. Uh, I don't know. I probably wouldn't have had him as my number one, but I think it's good that he has one now. Like
I
he's
think
been
he
deserving
deserved
of
it.
this award at some point.
I think he
Yeah.
deserved to win it at some point, and it was maybe like out of all of them. Like for me, I'm a little bit selfish with the run that I paid attention to with like Lindy Ruff and Buffalo. Like it was
Hmm.
just such a good story. I felt like that kind of maybe
Yeah.
deserved the coach. And yeah, you're seeing it now. We'll get into some off-season thoughts with some of the retread hires and maybe some people being skeptical with a Lindy Ruff going back to Buffalo and what he's been able to kind of pull together. And even what Bones did going into Columbus, like he didn't get into the playoffs, which probably would have sealed that one. But
Yeah.
yeah, not going to argue with Cooper and especially the way that he led Team Canada. And because our boy, Mr. Drive the Truck, Connor Hellebuck, got injured, and things fell off the whatever runway, so to speak, for
Hmm.
the Jets. Speak to the Vesna.
Vazzy, man. I remember when Ben Bishop was the starter, and I was telling everyone it's gonna be Vazzy's gonna be the guy for Tampa. I was just so impressed every time seeing him, and very quickly he rose to the starter role and just been elite ever since. And he's one of the I'm not normally a I don't normally become a big fan of many goalies. Like Freddie Anderson is like kind of one of the exceptions. Even Connor Hellebuck, it took me a while to warm up to him. But Vazzy right away, I was a fan. So again, a guy that I like to see win. Uh, I feel like this year, if I was voting on awards, I would give it to Sorokin probably. Just Tampa's just got like I think to be like a most valuable goalie. I know it's like the Hart Trophy is most valuable player. Vesna's more about the best goalie, but like the fact that Tampa won the Jack Adams Hart and Vesna, and then were a first round exit. It's like okay, they can't all be the best, you know. And to me, Kucherov's the best. So then the other two aren't can't quite be the best. They're up there, but I think I would go Sorokin.
Yeah, and I think it like might have been a little bit of a default with Soroka not getting in the playoffs and some of the others. I don't know. Uh, we'll talk about them later in the show, but even like guys that come in and they played a limited amount of games, but they won so much, like Cy Young Award winner Brandon Bussey, and we'll talk
Yeah.
more about the boy, Chipotle to champion, and yeah, no, Simeon, thanks for covering that circuit. We kind of got a three for one as much as those aren't my flavors, and but like they got some hardware in Tampa. They didn't get the main one.
Yeah.
Takes a team to do that, not a bunch of individuals. But that is what it is. They're never out of the conversation when it comes to the playoffs, and they're always a threat. So let's move
Hmm.
this on over to Luke. Luke, some concluding thoughts. How do you want to serve it for this season of 25-26?
Yeah, it was a tough season for the 204. Um, so just kind of seeing what they did in the off season and some of the departures and guys they brought in. So bit of a tough watch in my own lands, but also lots of highlights. We had the Olympics with that international flavor, and the playoffs were great this year. Had a great Stanley Cup final as we talked about. Um, but overall, it was just another great year of hockey. Just kind of touching on some of this voting talk here. Wouldn't say Tampa's much of a threat lately, as they've been out in the first round 4 years in a row. But um, and like Simeon said himself, like two of the three of those guys were not quite deserving for their trophies. I feel like to sum it up, maybe it was a year of voters fatigue for the voters. Like, oh, we can't give it to McDavid again, so
Spicy tot.
Kucherov, there you go, I guess. But you see what McDavid did in the stretch run without guys like Draisaitl for large portions. Zach Hyman missed a bunch of time. He was he was my guy for the Hart Trophy. Like best player is going to be the best player. Kucherov's not the best player, so I'd uh I'd put McDavid into that conversation. And I mean, you kind of echoed my other thoughts with Sorokin and Lindy Ruff for the other two trophies, but yeah, just definitely a interesting year with the voters. You even see a guy like Matthew Schaefer got voted as Rookie of the Year on one guy's ballot, but the same guy didn't vote him on his all rookie first team. So just kind of like weird things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I am a media member, but it's one of those things. It's easier to be a critic on the side, and at the same time, I think like the accountability, like you said, Luke, like the votes for the Conn Smythe, heard this from Elliot Friedman that they would be published, and so he said, like, I forgot who I put on whatever. Like, he even admitted, like, it was kind of in the moment, and with everything going on, like, I forget where I put on this spot, this spot. Though he said everything will be published. I just don't understand why all of it isn't published. Like, if you're gonna vote for somebody, then you better put your name behind it. The fact that it's like an anonymous kind of thing, like, I don't think that that's the best way to go about it because I don't know. Media members like to give so much flack to management and this and that. Like there has to be like a two-way street where even media can be a little bit on one another, being like, "You pick this? Like, what is your reason why?" But
And not
I
even to
digress.
like, even like from a media member's perspective, like you're not going to be able to watch all 32 teams for the entire year. So, um, even just getting like other names that are able to vote for these kind of awards rather than maybe media for some of these um, would maybe add a little more credibility and unbiased for some of the voters.
Yeah, because some and a lot based on the Eastern Seaboard, they're just not watching the teams across the the country and the late night games because I don't know. I don't know where the votes all ranked, but a guy like Celebranian, what he did for his team, I feel like he could have been in that conversation just as easily, being the most valuable to his team and its success.
Yeah.
Though, Felice, it's good to see you back, bud, after the break here. I kind of putting you right in here, but what do you think from the 2025-2026 season? What kind of sticks out to you?
Well, to me, I really gotta mention two names. First off, gotta mention my boy, Brandon Bussey. I really felt like this Stanley Cup win when he won it, it felt kind of like we won it, you know? I've been kind of like
32.
manifesting this like since day one. Picked him up on my FBHL roster. He was my starting goalie. First bus stop, I was there. I was the first man on it. So this one just it felt good.
Yeah, yeah, and we missed you in the Stanley Cup coverage, so I'm glad that you brought that one back because the number connection, we had the drop on the day of our little bussy segment, the merch. We're gonna see if it comes back into stock. I love that. I love it, Elijah.
And then number two, I gotta bring up the Jets boys, Jonathan Taves. I think personally, I was really hoping like I knew he wasn't gonna be as good as he was back then, and I was just hoping that like his comeback wouldn't take anything from his past career, and I
Yeah,
don't think it has for me. I was
no.
happy that he came back, happy with what he did. Glad to see that he's retired now as a Jet. So,
Yeah, for him to go
Hmm.
out in his hometown, that was just announced. Yeah, and just the words that he said, like that this is the place that rooted for me all along. And yeah, when he started his career, Winnipeg wasn't even in the NHL. So it's one of those things, always rooting Winnipeg and Chicago having a little bit of a connection there lots of connections architecturally. And yeah, now I don't know if I want to get into the GM stuff yet. We'll get into some off-season thoughts and shortly. Though,
Yeah.
Felicia, I didn't want to cut you off. Any final thoughts, or was that the two for 1-2?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Really, just this playoffs really saved the season for me.
Yeah,
Regular season. Usually, it takes about a certain amount of games before I kind of tune out of the Jets because we're usually out of it. Other than like last season, of course, where they were great, but I don't think I've tuned out as fast as I did this year. But
yeah. Thank goodness for fantasy. Kind of forces you to stay locked in.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
true. It's true. This was an exciting playoffs with the whole Montreal run and then the bussy bounce and the bussy finals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like if you think of it from the start of the year, and I like how everybody paid homage to the homelands here and the Jets. It definitely started with optimism. As I kind of like reflect and serve up the thoughts and the particular flavor here, there was a lot of optimism after coming off of the President's Trophy, and it was pretty tough right off the bat. And then getting into when Connor Hellebuck got that injury and the wheel just like fell off. Like it was. Like, am I misremembering? But we lost 19 in a row in the homelands, like with their squad. It was like
It
18,
was
I
something
19.
think,
like that. I'll find it here.
yeah, I think we lost like it might have been 12 or something, but
I'm over
just
exaggerating as I always do. But it was like
it was an extended stretch though.
it was double digits loss, and how many of them were one goal losses? And yeah,
Yeah.
like kind of feel like it was a little bit of a dressing it up a little bit with we won those games last year, and like we should be like right where we are. We weren't where we were last year. We had a completely different roster construction. Um we can kind of talk about again, but we've done this off-season kind of stuff with the amount of man games it took to get the point threshold that Ehlers had for the squad, and not appreciating him and his spot on the team and what he could have even given more um as the kind of season went on. And you know that the Jets aren't going to do it, and then you just kind of look around and be like, ah, like let's find a good story. And Buffalo was an amazing story, and they kind of had their resurgence, and the Olympics were just something else this year. What a gift to the hockey world of the moments. And wasn't Canada's this time, though like we talked about, it was kind of greater than just Canada's moment for the United States, and you know, all the heart and all the feels with the Goudreau family. And then the whole run and following Carolina kind of really took precedent in following Ehlers, and the fact that he scores the empty net. We talked about it. It's like just what a season. Um, the the awards and all that kind of stuff. It's good to pay homage to those individuals, though it just really felt at the end of this year that the best team won in a way that like they were the best team. As a whole team, they were a good team. Wasn't that there was the main couple drivers and they had a stack lineup or anything, but like the best team won. And for in hockey, that's a team sport. It seems poetic. And so that was oh, that's the season, boys. Like we're getting into off season now. Like this seems like we started our puck talk kind of mid-year, so we just came in like halfway through the season, and pick this up, though we've been pretty dialed in all the way since the beginning. Though getting into some off season talk and some off season connections. Oh man, so stay in the homelands here, Luke. I gotta throw this over to you. We got some hella buzz. You want to take that?
Yeah. So there's been lots of hella buzz lately. Um, 32 top boys, we kind of brought it up more towards the end of the year with some of his comments he made at that presser and just kind of what the future looks like for him. But you've seen it kind of creep into the national media here, um, with like rumblings from like Friedman, and you see Drager. He's pretty connected with the Jets, and he's kind of come out saying that Bucky would be open for a change. So seems like that's kind of in the works here. So um, it'll be interesting next couple weeks here before the draft. See if they can get something done. Um, reported that Florida is kind of the destination. Helly would prefer, just with that U.S. connection you saw. Um, and I mean that group chat that the U.S. have got going on. Don't call it tampering, but I feel like there's a lot of big influence in that chat and kind of where guys are
Wanting
mapping
to
out
keep
their next spots in the league. So
wanting to keep the winning going. Yeah, sorry to butt
yeah,
in.
I I don't know if you guys saw this, but I saw like the Jets were looking at apparently like Aiden Hill and like McTavish maybe, and I think if they do ever acquire like Aiden Hill, I think then you're looking at Hellebuck being gone.
yeah. So those names are connected. Um, you even see a guy in the Jets media space, Mike McIntyre, reach out to the Hellebuck camp, see if they want to pour water on this whole rumor mill or
Yeah.
put a little they come back with a no comment. So, I mean, if they're
No,
not pouring
no,
water and they're not pouring gas, nobody
Go
knows.
either
But
way.
you can make your
that's,
bet. You can make your best guess. If you're not gonna put it out, then you can insert the the
yeah,
guess, right? Yeah.
yeah. But you kind of see the Jets org, they do a pretty good job of it, of keeping things under wraps. They don't usually like things leaking out into the public. So, um, don't expect really confirmation coming from them directly, but um, I think something's probably in the works for Helly moving on from the peg.
Yeah, you know what? I've had a couple people because I've maybe been drumming this a little bit more, just like don't be surprised if he's gone. It's a little bit more today. Not to get right into it, but we'll go to the other sign and trade, but a little lateral move, so to speak. But Kesselring traded from Buffalo with with the 27th pick to San Jose for the 20th. And so there is the connection to Florida for sure, Pomo and Matt Kachuk too, though there has been that, and it brought it up with our boy Rainey with maybe going to Buffalo and playing with Tage, and don't know if Tuck is gonna get the contract there yet, though.
I
A
gotta
move.
mention
Go ahead, go
a
ahead.
comment from Rainey was he was glad he didn't get invited on for a debrief because he said he would have crashed out on the podcast. So about Montreal. So
And that's fair. He's fueled by Montreal, Habitant and passion. And if you go back in the time machine, those fans rioted in the streets when their main player got suspended. Crazy in history. Like I'll have to bring that up in a time machine episode.
Yeah,
They're passionate, and
they got
yeah,
that poutine flavor.
yeah. Though it was one of those things. Seeing a move like that, that kind of moves would signal to me that Buffalo would try to include a pick like that in some kind of package. But like nobody knows. There's a bit of time here before the draft. Everybody's gonna be repositioning, and they got their boards. Though if anything's gonna happen, it's gonna happen before the draft. I would guess. What do you think, Luke, with the Hellabuzz?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. You see that trade that Buffalo made, and to me, that kind of got my gears turning that they're kind of ramping up to try to win out that bidding war. So um, definitely interesting to see where this goes, but 32 Tots will have it covered when it drops.
Sure, we'll have it first, but
Yeah, yeah, no, of course, of course. Simeon, over to you with some moving and shaking in the southeast corridor there with your Tampa flavors. What do you want to throw that Todd out and not want to think about it? That guy was nice on your blue line. You gonna break it for us? So break.
Yeah. So Darren Radish out of Tampa for a fifth. First off, I'm just thankful we're off the Hellebuck talks a little bit because it's
You don't like
pretty
that?
tough. Yeah, at least I'm hoping we get a good return, unlike Darren Radish. Um, I mean, at least we're getting Hellebuck if we do trade him before the draft. He's got some contracts left, so we'll actually get something hopefully for him, even though, there's not a good history of goalies getting good good pieces. But with Radish, trading a guy like that for a fifth, I understand you have no leverage, like right before free agency, but you just don't. You just gotta find a way to get more than a fifth. But whatever. So that's not at the end of the day. It's a fifth or a third. Like um, it's not that. That's not the big part of the trade. That's kind of dumb to me. To me, it's that Darren Radish signed for what was it 8.5 million or something along those
Yeah.
lines for
Yep.
8 years. So that seems like reasonable with the cap going up. And I think especially when the good years of the contract are now, maybe when he's 38, um, it's not worth it at that point. But by then, how much is Tampa going to care? By then, Kucherov is not going to be the best player in the league or the second best player in the league, depending on your perspective.
Maybe a
Um,
tad lower.
hmm? What,
Maybe a tad lower, but go ahead.
yeah, okay,
Keep
whatever.
going.
Um, this is their time to keep pushing for a third cup here in this era. So, yeah, I think just letting a guy like that go for nothing when he wasn't asking for anything ridiculous, eh, I don't know, not the best move personally. But props to Toronto for getting the guy. Um, yeah, we'll see how he does on a new team without the Kucherov bonus, but. Yeah, we'll see if I don't think he's going to put up the same production that he put up this year, but that doesn't mean he's not still a really quality defenseman.
From your eye test, if you mind me maybe sticking on this, like does Radish's game translate to more of the like I always heard about his bombs from the point and he just has a real knack for sending those shots through. Though as
Hmm.
far as his foot speed and the way that he defends, because he's not a young guy per se. Like I don't have it up on my tools, but he's not the youngest, and I haven't heard of him being the most fleet of foot. Do you think that contract is actually going to age well?
Hmm. For
Because
me, for me, speed is not normally the thing that ages well, anyways. Like, if a guy is known for their speed at age 28 and that's what gets them goals, that's what gets them points, they're not going to be playing like Corey Perry in their 40s, right? Like Corey Perry, the reason he's still like a player that has been having an impact for the last 5 years is because he's a hockey IQ guy. He knows where to be
yeah,
and he makes good plays. And so even if he's not the fastest, and he really is not the fastest, um, he still can have an impact on a team. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't remember how fast Radish, like he didn't strike me as slow watching him play. But I just remember from eye test this season, he looked like a defenseman that would get the production that he got. Like it didn't feel like he was a merchant by any means. Like every time I watched him play, I'm like, yeah, no, this guy's good.
He's
Like
working hard. He's working for it.
he's making plays that other defensemen at the point would not be making. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I was lucky enough to snag him on my FBHL team early this year, so thanks,
yeah,
boys.
yeah. Shout out Luke for that find. Yeah.
Yeah, and Luke, I didn't know you were into some TBL flavors on your FB team, but with the redraft potentially and new ownership, we don't know yet where all those flavors will land up. Though, thanks for taking that one, Simeon. Um, Off-season, Felice, did you have any little thoughts on some off-season wanderings with yeah, anything with you?
Not really. Honestly, I think Toronto will be a good fit for Radish, playing with Tampa along those like four playoff first round exits. He should mesh well with them. As you see, he production was great in the regular season, 70 points, 73 games. Only one assist though in the playoffs. So we'll see. We'll see how he does in
Should fit right
Maple
in.
Leafs, but maybe this is a good thing for Tampa. Maybe he was the problem. Not
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I saw some earlier stuff coming out or some stuff earlier today after it come out and then all of a sudden people like comparing Toronto's top 6 and being like one of the best in the league now and I'm like, "Huh?" Like I know there's we kind of coined this thing of Chevier'd here, but it's like what kind of laughing gas are you having there that in the Toronto Maple Laugh lands? Because
Yeah.
they got a long way, in my opinion, and we'll have Mr. Braden back on Mr. Dress Up Takeover tour with some more coverage coming up. I'm interested
yeah,
to his take on the Leafs' little roster reconstruction here.
Yeah. If they're talking like they got one of the best top sixes in the league, I'd be happy to ship out one of our core four guys here for one of their future firsts. Feel like that could be a pay some dividends in the future.
I will say I was not informed on Rash's game. I When I first saw that contract, I was like, "Oh, this is brutal." And then I took a closer look at it. I'm like, "Not that bad actually."
Yeah, and like the one thing that's going to be a major mind shift going into this off season for a lot of people is we're not in the flat cap era anymore, where the cap is going to be going significantly up. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, whatever, rising tides lift all boats, as the saying goes. And so it's one of those things. This even in a couple years, like it's probably second pair of money. Like Luke, you
Yeah.
you kind of alluded to something like that earlier, right?
Yeah. In a few years' time, this contract kind of ages more like second pairing money, and I don't really
That's
envision
crazy.
him being that like 70-point guy from this year, but even if he's 50 or 60 points a year,
Great on the
uh,
power play all year too.
good power play guy. The Leafs have needed that for a long time. So
I think he led the league in power play goals for defensemen actually.
Something
yeah,
that
so
something I'd be curious about is this a lateral move from Chayka and the new group, where they bring in a guy like that for the power play and they're looking to ship out Riley and give him his scenery change? Because there's been a lot of talk that he might be going to a place like San Jose, for instance, and
yeah,
joining their crew. And I don't know. Like after what you saw Mitch Marner do and getting like a little bit of a break from Toronto and then the resurgence. I just wonder like a guy like that. He's played a long time in Toronto and if they got something on the finger like finger on the pulse of that. I don't know what you guys think of that thought. I'm just throwing them out now.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
as we've seen early, John Chayka, he loves to make trades, and Even his time in Arizona, you kind of see he'll just kind of shuffle the deck chairs every few
Yeah.
weeks, just add in some new guys, setting out some other guys. So he likes to move around, and you kind of just see how the Leafs decor is constructed right now, and it wouldn't surprise me if they're not done yet.
Uh, yeah, no, that's more than fair. Um, Kind of going into what has been unresolved and your old GM there from the Tampa Bay Flavors, there's Simeon up in Detroit, with the Larkin news and still unresolved. Wondering if that's now going to be something really before the draft. Simeon, do you see like a good fit for a guy like that? You've been a little bit connected to some Red Wings, both in the fantasy chat and if I'm remembering right, with some of our Olympic connections.
Yeah, I think that the trick for Larkin being a good fit is not thinking that he's actually like an elite player. Like I
No.
think if you put him on a second line center, like yeah, he'll do the trick. Um, but I actually I like a lot of the guys in Detroit, and just year after year, like it comes the last like 20 games of the season, and Larkin just not only like isn't playing his best, he just disappears and just does nothing. And he's their captain. So like that culture of losing, I think he's a big reason why they're not doing well. And then of course the guy wants to go to the winning team. It's like you don't just fly away to a team that's winning. You got to be part of that. You got to be the reason why they're winning. If you're a captain, lead your team to victory rather than um yeah, jump in ship for a team that's already got it all figured out. So, yeah, I am not impressed with Larkin as a player, putting so much pressure on your team to like giving such a small trade list. Um, just all yeah, with the no movement clause, like it's just all kind of
I mean, but
just basically
how much of it would land on like the Iser plan? Like he's stuck around there for 12 years. He's the captain of the team. They haven't made the playoffs since his rookie season. Like after that
he,
long there and not seeing results, like I kind of understand wanting a different change of scenery.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Like you can want to change the scenery, but be like Ehlers at least, Like Ehlers was around for a long time, but he gave Winnipeg respect in his departure. Like he didn't leave um he didn't give a three-team trade list for Winnipeg and go, "Get me out of here now. I want to go to these three cup contender teams." And I'm making this public so that there's you have no leverage.
Yeah, it's so tough
So
because he's on the books. I'm just got it on the tools for like 8 and 7 mil, like 8 and 700,000 for like the next couple years, I think. Like it's just such a different situation. Not to like
mhm.
completely throw that out, but like it's such a different era now with like players and there's like yeah, you got the Kachuk and company like forcing their way out of different situations. Players speaking up. Maybe not the Quinn Hughes thing per se, but he just kind of said like I'm not gonna sign. So they kind of almost were a little bit handcuffed with that one. Though there's a lot of United States kind of team connections and then wanting to go to a place to win. Um, yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting. Like, I wonder what Florida would even package because he would be like a third line center there. Like, who do
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
potentially.
I mean, he'd
potentially?
probably fit in the 2C, but could also 3C as well.
I don't really see Florida because of the limited list, and this is the thing with like Stevie Y. I don't think he's just gonna give them away. But it's like at some point, how long are you going to let him sit? And then he's just sitting in a sitting asset. But it's one of
Yeah.
those things. Like I
To
don't see
me,
them
I think,
trading Anton Lundell for him. Like I really don't see them doing that. Like it would be like maybe a lesser Reinen and maybe like a pick because that would be like I don't know. It's hard to come up with mocks for this one in my opinion,
They,
but
they just don't really need a center right now.
yeah,
no,
to
no.
me, I think Minnesota has to be all over this. Like
Yeah,
they've been looking for
definitely.
a center for a long time. You have him and Eriksson Ek as your 1-2. Like that's pretty great 1-2 punch. So
And all their
uh,
depth of wingers. They also signed McCarron,
Yeah.
who's like their defensive kind of guy, and the face-off winner in the dot. Like I just remember watching him and winning face-offs. Like there is a
yeah,
price to that, and he signed a big long ticket at a lower rate because he's more of that role guy, right? But
Well, Minnesota's so good everywhere else that I feel like, yeah, I think that's their one big weakness. And if it'll still be their weakness after they get Larkin, if they get him, but at
Not really.
least it's not going to be too bad. Yeah.
yeah. I do think we're maybe underselling Larkin a little bit. Like he's still a star player, made the U.S. Olympic team, outplayed Kyle Connor to stick around in the lineup. But just
I
kidding.
knew that was coming.
All jokes aside, he's still a great player, and like he's a good 1A,
Yeah.
1B center for a team, and I'm sure a bunch of teams in the league are calling about him already. So
Yeah. My advice for Stevie Y is wait it out. Like yeah, he's not nothing. Like he is a center that's has experience being a star center, there's going to be people wanting him for sure. Centers are always highly sought after. So, if I am Stevie Y, feel out the market. Don't let Larkin pressure you into anything.
mm-hmm.
Make him sit there a little bit if he needs to open his mind to some other teams and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
like
that's the
you
way you would do it. Is you sit
yeah,
there, give me a couple more teams.
yeah. He has some cards to play here, so play those cards. Yeah, hold them for now, and find the right time to sell.
Yeah, if I can segue this one just a little bit into what's coming up, uh announcing it. We're going to be bringing on some faces that you've seen before on the program with some other segments. We got a draft show scheduled. I'm very excited for that one, so we can look forward to that one. A little bit of an off-season connecting with the Hellabuzz, connecting with some of the names and connections from before. I've been following a little bit more on the NHL.com draft boards and some guys and some different picks, and it's so all over the place with this draft, guys. I'm gonna spend a little bit more time in the next week now that I'm done reports and all of that, and gonna be sitting with some of the names and where the rankings are. Though the one thing that I noticed in various boards, it's very interesting in the one, two, three, four kind of order. Like Gavin McKenna is like pretty much guaranteed almost to be going. Um, that would be a shock if they would pivot to someone else. Though Ivar Stenberg, and I might mush all these kids' names and I'll study up better for next one. But him was kind of like highly touted, though I've seen him on many boards like slipping out of the even the top five, which is very fascinating. A winger, so some people don't give that position that much. There's a lot of good defense here too. It seems like Chase Reed is pretty high up to be going in that two slot. There was something that I did notice in some boards was like the Jets are at 8, right? And then
yeah,
Florida is at 9.
yeah,
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna study up better. Though I saw in some boards even Luke, I don't want to steal your guy, but I really noticed him pop off at the World Men's Championship when I was doing a lot of my coverage there of just my solo international flavors that I love to connect with. Vigo Bjork and him falling down in some, and then also him being just above where the Jets would be. Though there is a scenario where I said no playoff, Keaton Verhoff. That's where our focus needs to be. There could be a world where the Jets trade Hellebuck, which is the big buzz right now, to Florida, and they would have the 8 and 9, and getting Bjork and Verhoff to reset your roster. Like, I don't want to get my hopes up because like that gets me too excited for a Sweetapeg rebuild with also the Saskatchewan boy coming from across the border, and believe he's like just across the border, either Prince Albert or a little bit further. Keaton Verhoff and playing just south of the border, UND in his draft year here, though. The off season for me, that's really getting exciting now is some of this draft stuff and booking some guys for a draft show that I know are gonna have some tots and be serving it. It's gonna be pretty fun. I'm excited for that. Um, yeah,
We
we'll
want to
talk.
be careful though in Winnipeg because we don't want to be all Swedish and no Finnish, right?
Well, we tried the Finnish rebuild with Patrick Laine and Vesalainen, and those guys didn't even work. Henola, so maybe we do
Half of
got to
them
go
don't even get a
Swedish.
shot to play, so may as well go with the Swedes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they'll let the Swedes play. We don't know yet. Very, very similar climate and latitude, being in the northern hemisphere. But yeah, no, I like the connection there, Simeon. That needed to be in for the bingo cards. So I'm excited to talk more about that later. Go ahead to drop that with some of the off season because that's a big thing coming up. Um, well, boys, this brings us into some off season or side quests. You can go off the board with this one. The season is done. What are you tuning into? Maybe there's an alternate sport that's gonna be captivating you. Um, I'm wearing a color based on what just recently happened in Canada. Anybody want to take that one?
I didn't watch the game. I watched the highlights. I'm sure we're talking about the World Cup, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
should I should have primed that one better.
No. You primed it perfectly. I just wanted to make sure I'm not thinking of there's not some other big Canadian sport I'm missing.
No, no.
But yeah, 6-0 against Qatar in the World Cup. I'm talking to some buddies who are a lot more into soccer, at least watching
Football.
soccer than me.
Football.
Oh, okay. Sorry, football than me. And yeah, I feel like it's from what they're saying, this is huge. Like we've never made
Historic.
top 32 before. So, and this is we're pretty much a shoe-in within our group. I don't want to jinx it, but like
Nah.
winning 6-0 puts you in a really good spot, and we tied the first game too, which is
Yeah, like as far
fantastic
as
too.
as far as goals, and a lot of it comes down to your goal differential with stuff like this. Uh, Switzerland put it up on Bosnia, who tied Canada in the first one, and that was kind of maybe a tough look where it's like going in against the Swiss in the finale. Buckle up for that one maybe, but I think Canada had a lot of nerves in that first one. The Vancouver crowd was nuts, so like they just carried the national team, and I want to focus on the history with that, though there was a pretty tragic moment for Ismail Kone. Big injury. I haven't even been able to revisit that highlight because you could hear it in the building, um, and the bone destruction that happened in the leg injury. But after the next goal, giving the 8. uh salute and going over and grabbing his jersey was just like one of those moments of historic proportion, not just because of the goals, the first win and pouring it on. It was something to behold. I something, yeah, Canadian football fans and not the egg ball variety. I'm talking the round ball variety. You'll remember for forever and could inspire the next generation. Um, you guys got mushed though, Luke and Elijah. Talk about off-season activities and
Yeah,
connection. You guys
I
got
was
mushed on that one.
was hoping to catch that game on the drive home from Winkler. We were out there yesterday, but I'll leave it to Felice to fill you guys in on that one.
Yeah, so yesterday the women's national sledge hockey team came down and they're doing a camp for their world championship, which is going to be in Australia. Not remembering exactly when, but it's in the next few months. November, that's right.
Nice.
November. So they're doing a camp down here. First time come down to Manitoba in years, probably what is it, like 13 years or something.
Wow.
So they wanted to play a match against us. So we all went down and we get there and turns out the cooling system in the rink is broken. So we gotta wait for them to
The ice was mush.
the
The
ice was
ice was
mush. So
literal
We got mushed.
we gotta wait for them to do it. And they're like, hey, it was like I think it was like 2:30 at this, or no, it's 3:30 at this point. And they're like, hey, earliest we can do it is 6, which is middle of the game.
Oh man, that's after the first half. Come
That's
on.
Yeah,
after the first half.
original start time was supposed to be 3:30. Got mushed till 6.
Got mushed till 6. And I got mushed with the first game already too, so it's just been a mush World Cup for me. After playing soccer this or sorry, footy this year with my school, I was actually excited to watch this year. I got a bit more of a new appreciation for the sport.
How did
But
you do? How did you do? You were playing against Winkler, right? That was
yeah,
you
all
were
right, we were
actually
playing.
playing against Winkler to make this a
Wait,
full circle.
all right, no, so we beat Winkler. No, we beat Kenora a while ago. We didn't get to play Winkler, but we went to the provincials, which
Right.
was
That
like
was it.
nine back. And we got last, but we versed the top like couple of seeds. So
Who are the top seeds, if you mind me asking?
it was West Kildonan, and then there was this. I
Okay.
actually don't know what seed the other team was, but they were like a prairie team or something like some prairie school or something. So
Just a bunch of prairie dogs.
yeah, but it was like I think like the team that we lost to in the second game had like 70 people try out for their team, and we had like 15 people there, and that's all who tried out. So.
Very
Like
different,
before.
very
We're
different
we're I,
roster
we're
construction.
we're a double A school that was competing in triple A, and we won triple A and we went to quad A nationals, our provincials. So,
Provincials. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
but
man.
those our team, those guys in a couple of years, I'm sure they'll be winning provincials.
Yeah, you
Team
got
was
you
team was
you
pretty
you,
young, so
you got some guys that are rising.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what's your primary position, Felice? What do you play?
So I kind of started as like striking in like the first half of the season, but I kind of moved back into like a cam role.
Yeah,
So.
center attack. Nice, nice.
Yep.
That's fun. I played keeper because yeah, I love diving and being just like reckless.
No, I used to play keeper when I played Tim Hortons soccer. So and also when my older brother Isaiah was on the team, I'd be keeper for them at practice. So originally I told the coach I should go in net, but she liked my speed too much.
Yeah, yeah, you got to keep the speed out of the box. I like to say with the roster construction, but yeah, that's fun footy talk. Something that I got a little bit of a side quest, and we'll wrap this up, and we'll look forward to the draft tots. Though I'm kind of pressing all in with the golf right now, and I don't know if you guys know this, and I'm gonna completely mush this name because it's like I'm just gonna be open and honest. Like it's not my first language, and I usually am very cognizant of trying to get names from other cultures, but this is just gonna be a challenge. But have you guys heard of Sudarshan Yalamarhu? Have you heard of him on the golf circuit?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay, buckle up for this one. So here is the story and connecting to our homelands. You can look him up and the Winnipeg connection. So Sudarshan moved with his family. He was born in India, moved with his family when he was 4 years old, immigrated to Canada, and settled in Winnipeg. Okay. So he's got a really cool story of getting to the PGA. Um, he didn't come from a golfing family, not something familiar. And his dad was a big cricket player, which is the big national sport there, right? So he doesn't have a coach or anything like that. He just kind of picks up golf. And so it's called the YouTube swing. His dad looks up YouTube videos of Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, and kind of studies the dynamics of this. And going from very amateur to his rise to actually getting to the PGA, his path very unconventional versus others. Just because of the challenge of coming from overseas, didn't have the funds or the means to go to a college and to get into a university college circuit in the States. So he went through many tours in Canada, was his route. And it wasn't until in just last year he won his first professional event at the it was a Bahamas Classic. So he earned himself a full PGA card for the 2026 season at that event. And currently having like a pretty good rookie year. It's the US Open right now. It's one of those things. I was just checking the leaderboard and it was he was in tough, and I saw in a golf magazine and in a pro shop his picture in the Winnipeg connection. But he got cut for this one, so he'll be digging to get into the next one, though he's in the same conversation as as my guy that I like to reference when I completely overshoot the green. Bryson DeChambeau is also cut, so
I don't
he's
know
fine.
if
What's that, Felicia?
I yes, I was gonna mention that. I don't know if you saw us online. People are talking about
The Bryson Slam.
the Bryson Slam.
Miss
Miss all major cuts in 1 year because he's missed the first three so far. So
He's in one. He's digging.
yeah, love watching his YouTube golf though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And his little rivalry with Brooks Koepka was something that kind of kept golf interesting for a little bit. But anyway, had to share Sudarshan's story, and if you don't know, now you know. And now you got a 204 Winnipeg connection with the PGA Tour circuit. But just a cool story, unconventional. And if there's a digger golf guy, I think Sudarshan is your guy. So fun to have some connection with Winnipeg on that one. But any other final thoughts? Final thoughts, boys. This has been a little bit of a lengthier one, but having a good break and then concluding it. Ready
Mhm.
to get into off-season activities or what, guys?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the draft pod next week. Um, Forgot to mention it, but Chevy's fresh off an extension, so looks like
Oh
he's our
no.
guy going forward. So we'll see
Con
where this all goes, but should be
Contract
entertaining.
in perpetuity. It's just a life contract.
Maybe back to Atlanta. You never know.
Don't joke about that.
Relocation.
No,
Oh
not
no, no,
funny.
please, please don't go. Please. We
32 Tots has purchased the Winnipeg Jets.
yeah, yeah. We we gotta get
We'll
it
see
with
him
a
in the
couple other
franchise.
networks. Yeah.
So you know they're mushed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, from all of us at 32 Tots, that's the season. Thanks for being a part of the journey. Looking forward to staying connected. And yeah, if anything drops with this hella buzz, we'll definitely have to hop on and have our thoughts about it. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for following us, and yeah, thanks for eating the tots with us this season.